So we've closed the gates to the land of the dead. We finished off the ritualistic curse of All Gods Village. And we're going to use that knowledge as we head into the third installment of the Fatal Frame series, The Tormented. Now, released only 2 years after Fatal Frame 2, it doesn't make too many leaps and bounds in regards to gameplay, but it does have some very new features, as we'll be seeing. But for right now, we're going to go ahead and start on normal, and I'll see you after the cutscene.
Ray? Should we get going?
I heard this house was haunted. Too bad it's not.
Rumors are just rumors. I'm gonna load these up.
You?
And just like that, we find ourselves shoved into a mysterious place. We have no idea about who we're playing as, where we're at, or why this grainy film filter is over everything, but the only way to find out is to press forward. Right off the bat, we are greeted with our first Vanishing Ghost. We have seen Vanishing Ghosts in both Fatal Frame 1 and 2, and these are no different. The only real difference is that we, for some reason, start off with a camera. Now, for right now, that camera will do no damage. All it's really good for is taking pictures, so we're going to have to use that to the best of our ability and hopefully stay out of any combat situations as we progress through appears to be a very sprawling but very abandoned house. We also have a number of places we can go, but as per usual Fatal Frame fashion, the Vanishing Ghosts are going to be an indication about where we're going to need to head. In this case, we do want to follow after you, but we want to be careful about going too quickly, as it might mean that we'll miss some Vanishing Ghosts. The one oddity in regards to Fatal Frame 3 is that on occasion you are pretty much forced to take pictures of ghosts through walls or through structures, which I'm not sure if it was intended, but there are just some situations where I'm not sure how you're really supposed to catch the ghost otherwise. So it may seem like they're just throwing vanishing ghosts and points at us left and right, and you wouldn't be wrong on that end. All in all, though, I'm just honestly happy that all these vanishing ghosts don't seem to be too threatening to us. This gentleman, on the other hand, is very threatening to us. He will do quite a bit of damage if he catches up to us, so we're just going to have to head through the closest door and hopefully evade him. Hopefully he won't be following us where we're heading. Now, for the most part, we are on a very linear path in this tutorial section.
Stay here forever.
But it is still important to look around just a little bit, as there is a matching hallway on the other side of this little open terrace area. You can also take a quick look around at our somewhat bizarre surroundings. But if we head over to the twin hallway on the other side here,
Stay here forever.
you find another welcoming young lady. But otherwise, there isn't anything down either one of those hallways. We'll just have to continue after that image of you.
Wait! There's still something I need to say!
I don't know why, but this is just really making me think of Mafuyo from the first game.
Are you okay?
Oh, it was nothing. This place is...
So losing the film grain texture, we find ourselves thrust into yet another mysterious location. This time around, though, we don't have you to chase around. We do have a few locations we can investigate, but still pretty linear for right now. We do find a locked door here with a notched arrow symbol on it. Guess we're going to have to keep that in mind for later. And while we could head through this door, it would more or less just kick us back out to the bedroom that we saw before. We don't want that just yet. We want to investigate and figure out just what these dreams and visions might mean. First, though, in classic Fatal Frame fashion, there are hidden away items. Such as in this drawer here, we find our first healing item of the game, the herbal medicine. That's pretty much what it does in every other Fatal Frame. It'll heal for about 20 to 30% of our health. And we reach a crossroads here. Normally, we would want to head over to the right, as that will continue the story, but there's something important we don't want to miss in this room over here. It's another very easily missed vanishing ghost, with quite a bit of points. Usually the more difficult a ghost is, the more points it is worth. I will be posting a picture of that ghost, as it was very hard to see, but it was that blue topless woman that we saw in an earlier vision. Now normally I would be inclined to follow her, so as we'll go ahead and do that, but first we're going to pick up this shiny item here on the ground. It's going to be our first note of the game, though it will not be that informative. But just out of curiosity, we do have the classic file system that we've seen in other games. We have our picture of you and the memo we just picked up, but I was also curious if it would show what we took a photo of, but sadly, no such luck there. But like I said, I'll be showing off the ghost list image. That should be a bit clearer. But if we do try to follow the girl in the study, show that the path we have is very, very limited for right now. So we'll just head back to that fork we passed up earlier, while not getting creeped out by any of the usual little background flares that happen to pop up. Still, though, it would be a good idea to not only have an idea of what's going on, but also some means to defend ourselves. Even with Ray's little camera, like I said before, the best we can do is just take quick snapshots of vanishing ghosts. I feel, though, that we are definitely on the right track now. We see that same mother-daughter duo that we saw in the prologue area. Also, this overall area seems very familiar. Seems like what Ray was taking a picture of early on, but in a much more dilapidated state. Also, we have two different doors, both of which are locked for right now, so we're just going to have to keep those in mind for later. The only other place we can go is up these nearby stairs. Geez, they are really just throwing these vanishing ghosts at us. And just like that, we find a very familiar item to the Fatal Frame series, the Camera Obscura. Nothing too different as of right now with the camera. It's going to react very much like the one we saw in Fatal Frame 2. And in fact, it might actually be the same camera that we used in Fatal Frame 2. But we already have it equipped. See, there isn't much changed with the viewfinder. We have our ammo counter, our life, and our capture circle. But we do have something new over in this corner here. This little lamp is going to be our save post for the game. We're not going to use that for right now. Instead, we're going to continue our exploration of whatever's available to us. Almost sounds like the tinkling of a bell. Still kind of wonder where it might be coming from. Doesn't look like there's any source for it in that nearby room. So it wasn't a bell at all, just some very ominous chiseling in a closed-off room. Still, though, the heart-beating sound is making me think there's a ghost nearby, and our viewfinder is pretty much indicating that to us. Oddly enough, this doesn't seem to be a vanishing ghost at all. Instead, this particular ghost leaves behind a new type of picture.
Stay back! Go away!
Yeah, that musty film is going to be something very new to Fatal Frame 3.
To see anymore.
We get a much clearer view of that woman in blue that we saw earlier in our vision. I wonder if that woman that was running away is being chased by that woman in blue. There's only one way to find out. We need to catch up with her. Can only hope that what was ever sealing away that one door is maybe open now, but never hurts to investigate.
Have you seen him? Where did he go?
So we get our tutorial battle of Fatal Frame 3, and not too much has changed, even though it has reverted to the system that was used in Fatal Frame 1, where it will take time to charge up our cameras. You can tell by the little viewfinder circle, these symbols that will charge up over time. We still, though, get our opportunities for shutter chances, close shots, and all those classic Fatal Frame bonus point options. And being as it is the tutorial fight, the woman is not too difficult in the least. She does teleport around a bit, but I get a feeling that won't be the last time we'll be seeing her. Still, though, our viewfinder has picked up something else, and if we look around the corner here, we see some feet poking out. Maybe that's that woman that was running away from the woman in blue.
If only I died too. It's not my fault that I'm the only one that survived. I should have been taken. I didn't survive because I wanted to. I had no choice. If I had just had Orpheus, I would have. I didn't survive because I wanted to. I had no choice. So if I had died with everyone else, yes, if I had died with everyone else, then I would. Are you all right? That one.
Let me sleep forever.
Ray? Is everything okay? I heard you cry out.
Well, I was worried. You've been having so many nightmares lately.
What? I'm fine.
But
I just had a bad dream.
Or was it really just a dream? So, welcome to another brand new feature of Fatal Frame 3. Well, two new features of Fatal Frame 3. First and foremost, we have our notebook. Our notebook is something of an additional repository of information that we have gathered or garnered from our experiences in the game, such as the bruises that mysteriously appeared and disappeared on Ray's shoulder. Overall, though, the notebook doesn't add too much and really just kind of goes over some of the things that we already very plainly know, though it does give some interesting tidbits of information here and there, such as the fact that quite possibly that place that we went in our dreams was called the Manor of Sleep. Seems that Yu was doing some investigations into it before his demise. Could definitely have something to do with what's going on. We also have a list of the people we have interacted with, such as Yu, our fiancé, Miku, who you may recall as the protagonist of Fatal Frame 1 and is now our plucky assistant. There's also the tattooed woman, who is that woman in blue that for some reason wants to touch our back, and the mother and daughter who we fought as ghosts in that first battle. Really though, I can show these off if you guys want to, but some of the information, yet again, is very, very, very useless and just goes into, I wonder who that mother and daughter were. But yeah, the second brand new feature of Fatal Frame 3 is that we have this lovely large house to go around in and do odds and ends in between each chapter of the game. And much like in Silent Hill 4 The Room, this area is completely devoid of any enemies, it's completely free of any stress, and just a nice little place to kick back and get away from the horrible nightmares that might be killing us. Not too much in Ray's room, so we might as well go ahead and investigate the rest of the house.
Good morning, Ray.
And since Miko grabbed our attention, that means she must have something important to tell us. Now, Miku has invariably decided to join up with Ray as her assistant in the field of supernatural ghost photography. I have no idea what impetus she may have in that end, but she does help us in our day-to-day activities and will occasionally give us new notes and points of interest. In this case, we apparently received a letter, or more precisely, our dead fiancé has. So I'm sure he won't mind if we go ahead and read it. Now, as per usual, you can pause these at your own leisure. They do get a bit wordy here and there, which is, to me, one of the problems of Fatal Frame 3, but needless to say, Yu was in contact with this Kai guy, going on about the camera obscura and urban legends regarding his nieces, and a mysterious illness that's befalling some people. And Miku is a bit confused why Kai is still writing to you. The real interest, though, in that letter, though, is that it seems that you might have the camera obscura. So we might as well head up to his room to see if we can't find it. And if you're wondering where that mewing is coming from, it seems that our house comes with a rather noisy little cat. Good news is, if we go into another room, cat will thankfully stop mewing, at least for a little bit.
Ray, may I help you with something?
Oh, I just wanted to ask you.
Yeah, if it's not become very evident at this point, Ray is very guilt-stricken over Yu's death, especially considering that she was the one driving the night of the accident. But, all that guilt aside, we're going to go ahead and rummage through some of his belongings to find a couple of notes here and there. First one, we have a very long note going on about Yu's studies into urban legends. Now, for the most part, from reading this, we get the impression that Yu actually didn't put much thought or salt behind the idea of these urban legends. That instead, they were mostly, symbolism and hyperbole. But he does go into some very interesting things that we have actually experienced personally in Fatal Frame 1 and 2 in the Himuro Mansion and All Gods Village. The one new point of interest, though, that we haven't really gone across yet is this Manor of Sleep that we've seen mentioned in our notebook. Now, as to what the Manor of Sleep is, well, I'm sure we are going to find out soon enough, especially considering, well, our first excursion was into our dreams itself. In addition to that well-organized notebook there, we do find another piece of information struck among the notebooks. It seems to be a very old piece of newspaper. And while it doesn't seem like anything amazing, it does mention a missing mother and daughter. It seems a bit coincidental since we happen to just face a mother and daughter pair in that Manor of Sleep. Really, though, our main impetus for coming into this room was to find that aforementioned camera obscura, which is located amongst all these broken down radios. And accompanying the camera, we do find another letter from Key. Goes a bit more into this Manor of Sleep that we've heard mentioned before. But he also mentions that he found the camera obscura, the one here, in a mysteriously abandoned village, and upon showing the camera to his niece, Mio, she seemed to have a pretty nasty reaction to it, needless to say. And yes, Mio and Mayu, you may recall from Fatal Frame 2, and in this case we find that the letters we're receiving are from their uncle. Very oddly coincidental, but this camera obscura is a lot older than the ones we found in our dream and seems to be broken. That doesn't mean, though, that it isn't filled with a bit of film. And this is actually the undeveloped picture that we took during that dream sequence. So, being as we are an avid photographer of the supernatural, that obviously means that we have a dark room waiting for us somewhere in the house. So that is going to be our next destination. Actually shows that they put a lot of attention and care into Ray's house here. There's a kitchen, there's bathrooms. Seems like an actually laid out house. Not to mention, if you are interested, you can play with the kitty. Though it is incredibly optional, as with most cats, whether or not it wants to play back with you. Hopefully at some point during the LP, that little kitty cat will decide to play with us. But we will be exploring the house throughout the LP. For right now, though, I do want to go ahead and get this film developed. And the good news is we don't have to complete any convoluted minigame here. All we have to do is interact with the equipment, and we can easily develop this extremely old film. We find a picture of that woman that we took back in our dreams. Still no idea who she could be or what she was going on about. But this allows us to use Miku as our plucky avid assistant in some greater usage. That's right, Miku is always very apt and willing to help us in whatever odd things we may need. And occasionally throughout the course of the game, we're going to get many of these undeveloped, musty old pictures, and we're going to give them to Miku to try to find out more information. Now, we obviously don't tell her that we got the picture from some odd dream sequence. Instead, we just say that it was one of old used cameras.
Understood. I'll let you know if I find anything.
And with that, we should gain some more information, but more importantly, that allows us to progress through the game further. With that, it is nighttime again, which means it's time to head back into the world of slumber. Also, we decide to bring the camera obscura with us. This is going to be our save point in the house. But for right now, before we head back into the world of dreams, I think it is a good opportunity to call it a video. Hopefully you will join me next time as we continue on into the dream world.